Hey everyone, welcome to the Entrepreneurial Roundtable with Daymond John and all of our winners from the 2023 RingCentral National SMB Contest. We're going to go ahead and do a roundtable to get the conversation going. And we have all of our folks here. They're going to ask Daymond some questions, and Daymond's going to give us a little bit about his insights about each of the different topics. So let's go ahead and start with Lizzie.
Okay, Damon, I have a question for you about AI chatbot technology, which we've been using a lot, and we've been using it to help us create social media text, and we've used it for some internal documents. It's an amazing time saver. And everything in a small business, or really any business, that helps create more efficiency and helps you do more with less is amazing. So what things do you think a small business can really benefit from with efficiency, like inefficiency in using AI? What other tools do you see as this is really interesting? Jump on this.
Oh, AI is moving so fast, and I can't claim to be an expert, but again, being in so many different rooms and what works for me with AI is not only the chat GPTs of the world and coming up with the copy and various other things, but I like the visuals as well, because a lot of people, as I've been saying, they're visual. We are in a world where I have done my own little studies where I post things, but the point is we're visual. So a lot of the AI can also put together your visual form, because, my interpretation of when you say to me, we're creating something for a customer and I want them to see, coffee in a soccer mom's hand, and the madness is going on around her, but she's calm because she's settled. Now, I'm going to go off and show, I'm going to go off and give you an idea of, and I could be maybe an agency or somebody like a content person. I'm going to show you explosions and planes flying around. Another person going to show you just kids, just running around in madness, right? And another person going to show you that, I don't know, whatever. She went to the salon, she got her hair ready because she was going to go out someplace, and it's pouring rain and she's looking for an umbrella. The interpretation of madness can be anything. So what I think that AI can do is it can bring you closer to the target of that, because, a lot of people think that when you give somebody an instruction, you're going to give them the instruction and they're going to relay that information to whoever else they have to talk to. They have to talk to 6 people for that, and now the instruction has become way different than what you'd said. So it's really becoming extremely sophisticated, and listen, I'm a super novice at it. I have really genius people around me. So if I know that much, imagine how much more I can do.
I liked how you described that photo and that idea, because for me, I saw the story you were telling with that. And that was just an awesome kind of interpretation, just an idea. I'm immediately thinking oh yeah, don't just show the thing what we often do with photography. It's what's the story? And maybe nobody reads the text below this photo, but they feel the whole story happening in that.
And I'm having a team meeting tomorrow or the next day, and literally my designers and various other people are saying to the rest of the team, we get it, we're here for you. But to give a creative or anybody, a programmer, anybody, just information, especially sales likes to do this. Hey, we need blue in there. Now that person just said that, and that just put the poor poor designer into 4 days of work. Bake it more and bring it to me. Bake it. If you don't know AI, get clip art. If you don't have clip art, snatch a video. Bake it more when you bring it to us, because no matter what, we're still going to be, not hitting the target, or maybe that's called innovation, because I like peanut butter, you like jelly. All of a sudden we put this thing together and this thing is a game changer, peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, because what you're saying is cut down the time that it helps customers envision what they see with you and the product, right?
Right.
Or get in that mindset, right, quicker, so they can think about what is this product going to do for them? How's it going to work on me? Or how's this coffee going to taste to me in this particular situation, right?
Right. And it's evoking those emotions, which we've just so often done in text. Like we paint the picture of how a coffee is going to taste, not by calling out flavor notes, but by saying like, you like to do everything and you're always moving fast, whatever the description is. So really moving into being able to do that with photos is really cool. And the other thing you said, which was actually just made a spark go off, is when you're talking about how it can negatively impact me as a small business owner, to be aware of how a sales strategy is coming to me, or be aware of how something malicious may be coming to me now, and how did they get this information. So that was actually really an eye-opening thought too. Thank you.
Good.
I think you just created a new coffee for Lizzie, right? So it's going to be the soccer mom coffee that's going to be high energy and more focused.
Yeah.
There you go. With a straw.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. We're going to move on to Caitlin. Caitlin, do you want to ask your question to Daymond?
Sure. So my question came from watching Shark Tank. I watched a lot of Shark Tank when the world was stuck inside, when COVID hit, and I don't know if I would have opened my law firm if I wasn't in that mindset of the Shark Tank. So thank you, Daymond, so much for the show. I absolutely love it. So my question is, I feel like a lot of times on Shark Tank, we do hear about the best advice you've been given or some great advice you've gotten over the years from you and all your sharks. But my question is, what is the worst advice that you've been given over the years, and did you take it?
Brilliant question that I do not know. I've been asked everything. I don't know if I've ever been asked that before. I can't say that this has been the worst advice because what works for other people may not work for you. OPM, other people's money. Use other people's money. I can't sleep if I take somebody's money. And I've heard, these kind of people, they write that off, and it's fine. That's up to you. That's up to them. This person spends X amount of dollars on just this. That's that person's prerogative. But to just take other people's money because you feel that they may be in a different or a better position or a different mindset, it just doesn't work for me.
Something you said, one of your first things about taking other people's money. When I started my firm, I put an initial investment in of my personal savings. And I was like, if I can't make it work with this, something I learned from Shark Tank is not just to keep funneling money in. And right. People saying, well, you have a safety net, like you have family or friends who can help you out if this doesn't work and just give you more money to help. And I was like, I would feel so uncomfortable with that. Here's the money I'm putting in, and if I can't make the business grow, it wasn't meant for me.
People respect when you make those mistakes small. When you get all this overfunding from people, I always say you should use OPM, but OPM should be other people's mind power, manpower, manufacturing, marketing, mentors, and you could always make a profit over other people's mistakes. You don't have to take physically everybody's money. Right now, listen, honestly, am I a billionaire? No. Do I want to be a billionaire? No. You got to know your why. If I decide to open a fund for, if I decide to open a fund and create a $1.5 billion fund, I can literally call 15 people and say, put in 100 million apiece. Now I got $1.5 billion, at risk. I have to then acquire 10 or 20 businesses, have 20,000 people working underneath me. I'm 54 years old. I probably got a really, really good 20 summers left, and then questionable 10 summers after that. I don't want it. I don't want to put the people's money at risk. I don't know where I'm going to be. I don't know if I'm going to have that kind of hunger in my life. And what exactly am I going to do with that kind of money? I cannot sleep in 2 beds. So, it all goes back to why. It comes back to bad advice. I mean, some people want to, go at the end of the day, say, I don't know, I guess they think the person with the most money wins in life. I don't think so. There'll always be somebody with more money.
Thank you, Daymond. That's awesome advice. I very much appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, Mari, let's go ahead with your question to Daymond.
My question kind of is aligned with Caitlin. So we've been looking for funding, and in this current environment, we've had such a huge challenge to try and compete and pay for this technical debt. And what we're trying to find out is, what are your suggestions on how to get funding to grow, which we've never done and which is difficult for us, but we want to grow and we want to be able to compete with some of our larger customers. What are your suggestions other than going on Shark Tank? We love Shark Tank, but I don't think we're at that point. But we do need suggestions on how to grow our business and where can we find funding resources at a reasonable rate.
So, it goes back to the OPM, I don't know what you need the funding for, but the fastest way is to grow with other people's manufacturing, manpower, mind power, and various other things. How can you, in my business, the way to grow is licensing. I was only good, and I still am only good at, well, not still, but when I started off, I was still really only good with making men's apparel from men primarily 18 to 34 that would pay 20% more for quality goods. Majority of them were from inner cities, and about 80% of them were African-American based, and they loved the music called hip-hop. That's it. And I focused really narrow and deep on that. Now, to expand into ladies, boots, bags, boys, start selling Asia and Mexico. Asia's smallest sizes. Asia, the people at that time were dressing more in almost like a uniform or something of that nature. They don't wear certain colors in certain countries. I don't know how to make ladies wear. If there are two men in a room and we both wear a size 34, there are four sizes of 34. 34 long, 34 short, 34, slim fit, 34 baggy. For one woman, there are the same body type. There are 18 to 20 sizes. Stretch, gaps in the back, crotch, thigh, calf, of the same size, all right? Because the body is more form-fitting, right? I didn't know how to do that. And they deliver 12 times a year to the main market. So that means they're making 12 deliveries because women buy more often. Men's delivery is 8. I would have ruined my company trying to do that. Also, I dealt with factoring. Factoring is, in our business, is if I get a $10 million order from a Macy's or a Target of the world because they're AAA credit. Somebody, a bank, CIT generally, or Financo and Rosenthal will give me 80% of the money up front. I will go and get the goods. They will then take in the money from that account and they will then issue me back my money. So I don't know where you can reduce that debt, the technical debt, because remember, business is very simple, right? You increase costs or you increase sales or you reduce costs. Are there forms of strategic partners for customer acquisition, for software development, various other things where you can barter or trade or combine? Now, you may have tried all that. You seem like you're an extremely, extremely sharp individual, and but there are always ways to do that. What I've been doing lately, my mentor, named Jay Abraham, done billions of dollars of bartering over the years. I found that as I move into that world, I found that we do it today called collaborations and various other things, but bartering, there's a book that I think you can all look at Jay Abraham's stuff, but there is a book that I've recently been reading that it just blows your mind when you think about the form of bartering for a lot of this stuff, whether it is to reduce your costs in legal, reduce your costs. I mean, because let's look at Caitlin. Let's say she had a legal representation firm here and there, and you were a huge marketing firm. Well, you barter 100 hours for whatever the case is, right? You don't have extensive contracts, or I've seen people barter everything from office space to commission-based salespeople, the programmers, right? So there's a lot of other ways. People are too literal today where it is purely about cash for carry. So always try to find useful ways to do it besides hard cash and capital.
Okay.
the thing that you always have is thinking outside of the box, Daymond.
You know, when you think and you do what everybody else is doing and everybody else agrees, you have the lowest common denominator. You are in a crowd of everybody else, but it only takes you 1 second or a couple of seconds to really sit back and analyze things and go, why is this happening? Where is the money being generated? Who is benefiting off of this? Who is being neglected in this situation? There's always going to be a different way to approach something. And sometimes it's going to be right in front of your face, right in front of your face.
And it's interesting. How do you advise entrepreneurials to, you definitely talk about the why, but how is that healthy balance in terms of scoping the goal, right? You're saying go local, think about bartering. You think that it could be across borders or whatever it may be, but you're thinking like, when is the right time to think smaller or more tangible? Like,
it's only the right time because you have to fail. By the time my competitor fails one time, my team and I, we have failed 500 times, and we have gotten much closer to the goal. Every entrepreneur on here, they took affordable steps. They took what was in their artillery or in their possession, and they created that. Most people who fail go, it's going to be perfect when I raise the money. It's going to be perfect when this happens. It's going to be perfect. And everybody else, is saying all this is going to be perfect. And the people here, every one of you, I'm sure people either laughed at you, they doubted you, but you just spent, I'm going to spend 1 hour a day reading on this, on how I can do this. I'm going to put in 10 calls a week on this. And if I get to someplace great in a month, I'm going to start turning those calls up to 20 calls. I'm going to service the hell out of one client. I'm going to make that client love me. And what happens is when you're focused on that and you're making a bunch of small attempts and small mistakes, you go, oh wait, that didn't work. I didn't feel good about that. I couldn't find, I got the wrong opinion here. When you keep doing that and moving forward, it starts to unravel. As big as I may be in business or people perceive me to be, I make small mistakes every single day. And I advise my team to make small mistakes every single day. So at least when we come back, I go, man, I tried all this, it didn't work. And they go, I tried these and it didn't work. And we go, all right, what haven't we tried around here?
So I'm going to ask a question because it gives you an opportunity to talk about some of the current projects that you're working on. When you talk about entrepreneurship, I use the term vocabulary. You're introducing vocabulary to a younger generation of folks, of entrepreneurs, right? Really younger folks, right? In terms of talking about generational wealth and talking about things that they may never have even thought about before. You're bringing these things right up to the forefront. Like, what do you advise parents, right? In terms of helping children, achieve some of these goals or be able to, as you're talking about some of these steps, how do you think parents can actually begin to introduce the right concepts to the next generation?
Okay, you're being way too kind. I didn't know that. We're here, and this is exactly, why RingCentral is who they are. They're always about giving. I didn't think that you were going to plug that. I had my book sitting around here in the back. I took it down before we were talking, but I'm glad you asked that question, Ken, because the way that we can help our children and this community and this world is by showing them exactly what these 3 great entrepreneurs have done. It is working within a system and a team, valuing other people's opinions and bringing the best out of other people to accomplish one goal, that is to provide something that they love to other people that love the same exact thing. It's called entrepreneurial thinking. And what I've seen as the underlying problem in this country is that we are not taught financial intelligence. This country is still, our children are not. This country's still running off of an 80-year-old system where we were taught on how we were in the industrial age and we were at war, and we were taught how to build ships or be great employees. But today, if a child does not have financial intelligence, but at the age of 17 and 18 years old, they can be marketed or targeted by companies who are going to give them $500,000 to $700,000 worth of student debt. at rates that they won't pay off until they're into their mid 50s, then we're setting our country up and our children, we're setting them up to fail. As adults, we already are stuck in our ways. But if you show a child from 5 to 10 years old the way that money is processed and the way that entrepreneurship works, well, then they start off on the right foot.
Absolutely. It's part of what you do, right? And all of this in what we're celebrating, these 3 entrepreneurials here today, and all the information that you're providing, it's all part of the entire being that you are. So thank you very much.
I don't think there's any, the only difference to me than anybody else on here is I just have a camera on me all the time, and I sit next to a really mean man named Kevin O'Leary. I think that's the only difference. But every entrepreneur here, every single person in their company, they try to help. They try to give the advice. And now we know that we can't talk to some of them because they're not at that stage yet. But if anybody comes and knocks on every single one of these presidents or CEOs or founders' door and they say, I need some help, can you give me the advice? They will give them the best advice they can, and they will actually try to help them if they can, if they know they're worthy of it. That's just our job as entrepreneurs, because the only reason we got to this point in our lives because somebody else helped us.
Well, I mean, just on that same subject, it's interesting because, like I mentioned earlier, my son has just graduated college. He's working here. It's amazing. He's been part of our business since he was 8 years old. But we hire people who are his same age, similar age, and we see a pretty consistent kind of idea that you could just shortcut all the working stuff. Is that something that you see? Is that like part of your motivation for what you're speaking about in your book, of just like, actually, there's working. Let's talk about how to do that. Let's talk about how to get there. Like where's this gap that you see?
The gap that I see that it is a big world, and I see that there's a lot of information being thrown at people, and nobody's showing their blooper reel. They're only showing their sizzle reel. And if we all wake up in the morning and we look at our social media, I have no idea why everybody's skinnier than me, richer than me, and they're all in Greece. I don't know, when do these people work? I have no idea what these people work at. So if we only see that, we wake up with social media depression, and then we go and open our emails, and then we got everybody else's problems on our mind. And yes, everybody, we can't. If a kid listens to a song 100 times a week, and that song is talking about, just like a music video, right? They start off broke. Next thing you know, they got cars and boats and they're flying around. Well, that is the perception they're going to have. But listen, it is a big world now, and it is a challenge being a parent. And these kids are these kids. But I got to tell you, on the other side, there are also kids out there who want to change the planet, and their passion is unstoppable, and they won't pick up a gun because they'll overthrow a government with something called Twitter. So I would highly recommend anybody here, if you don't have them, it sounds, of course, Lizzie, like, I'm sure your son has a great network, but get as many interns as you can. And the intern, don't be too literal. The intern does not have to be just a business intern. You get a communication intern who understands social media. You get a content intern who understands photography, understands various other things. You get interns in all different areas. The same as if you have an advisory board and you want somebody who's smart here in retail, then finance, and then so forth. Get the same amount of group of interns. And you train people, and they're going to show you how to communicate faster than we ever did. So it's great.
That's amazing.
That's
Love
exciting.
that. Yeah.
That's amazing. I really appreciate everyone's time here today. Mari, Caitlin, Lizzie, your stories have been inspiring. Congratulations again for being chosen as the 2023 RingCentral National SMB winners for our contest. We really do appreciate that you participated, and I hope other people will participate in this in the future events too as well. But thank you very much for that. And Daymond, thank you so much for bringing your energy, as you always do, and your wisdom to this panel, and also to RingCentral, to really make this event a spectacular event. Thank you.
I got to thank you all as being entrepreneurs. You are the front line, and you are the most amazing thing. You are what has made this country great and will continue to make it great. But I want to thank Ken and Henry and Kelly and all of RingCentral, because it was their idea to come up with ways to keep empowering us. I mean, you may see me on TV and stuff, but I hope that you could hear my passion, because I could talk about this stuff forever, because this is exciting to me. It's just something that we live, and that's just the way it is. There is no separating our business from personal. Our business is an extension of who we are, and every single one of you have amazing stories. Every single one of you want to bring people joy or solve a problem. So I'm really, really excited about this conversation. I've learned some things from you, and I always have. I want to learn something brand new every single day. But I want to thank RingCentral for having this up, giving us this opportunity, and also just making life easier for us. It's enough stuff that we have to learn, and when you make stuff easier for us, that's one less thing that we have to figure out. And I definitely appreciate everybody for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. We really enjoyed it. And thanks, RingCentral, honestly, for a really killer product. And thank you, Daymond, for your time and your insights. And it was so fun to beat Caitlin and Mari, too. Thank you, guys.
Agreed. Thank you so much, everyone. Daymond, amazing to meet you. It was like a dream come true today. And RingCentral, thank you so much for setting this up so we could meet Daymond and everything. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Daymond, I definitely agree on your internship concept. We actually have 3 individuals that have been with us over 10 years, and they all started as interns from our junior college, and they're phenomenal. So that is a great insight. We continue to do that to this day. 19 years later, we bring in interns every year.
Excellent. That's why small businesses are the backbone of the community. You're helping, you're upraising those who can see people that look just like them in their community doing amazing things. With all these distractions around the world, everybody should want to be a Mari and run businesses and stuff like that. So